Hey there, comic book friends, I'm Travis, and it's time for another edition of Monster Comic No Capes, Not on the Pole Reviews. Because, yeah, I only have 5 comics this week, total, between all of them. And Ethan isn't reviewing along with me because either Ethan doesn't read these, doesn't review them with me, or because he has homework he has to do instead. So, there we are. We're going to jump right into these. I'm going to put these all together because it's only 5 books. That we only have to put up one video for me this week instead of a bunch of videos for me. So, first up is Trillium, issue 2. So it was just the first issue. That's a flip book. That's cool. This is such a great story. I mean, obviously there's going to be this. I mean, there's so much going on. Not sure exactly where I want to start, other than, you know, they don't speak the same language, which is pretty interesting. She recognizes maybe being some old Earth dialect or something. That's interesting there. You know, they talk back and forth. They do figure out finally. They do establish the fact that somehow he's saying that he's from 1917 and she's from 37 something. Oleander is the only word that both languages use the same word for, because they find a field of the oleanders, the Trillium. Is it Trillium or is it Oleander? Why do I want to say it's Oleander? I'm on one of those kind of days, right? Let's see here. Looking through the comic, because I'm having that kind of a... No, Trillium. See, why would I say Oleander? They look like Oleanders to me. Trillium. Awesome art. Because they have a meeting of the minds. Gorgeous book. Great story. Great storytelling. Jeff Lemire. This just kind of his thing. Really enjoy it. Go get the book. Go get the book. Or write it down on your list of trades to get now. Just write it down now. You're going to get it as a trade, because well worth it, I think. Quite enjoyable. Baltimore the Infernal Train, issue 1 of 3 for this little thing. Yes, I'll agree with everybody who complains about the way Dark Horse numbers their stuff. This is a 3-part series, but this is number 16 in a series, and some of those series were only single shots or whatever. So, that being said, it's hard to go back if you're going to try and buy singles to try and figure out what things are, as opposed to buying the trades. I think the trades are numbered in a decent enough order to give you an idea of what you should be picking up in what order. Anyway, on to the story. Our main character, Lord Baltimore, showed up in Budapest, pulling him away from his focus of hunting down these vampires that destroyed his family, because he needs to deal with this crazy zealot inquisitor who believes that Baltimore is evil because he's dealt with so much evil. So in this, he's gone to Budapest because Budapest is kind of where it's been hinted at that he is going to that's where he can meet him at, and they're going to basically duke it out or something, as it sounds like. Well, while he is in Budapest, a day early, this train shows up with this infernal engine that's supposed to be so wonderful. This engine consumes the plague. The people who bear the plague that they've sold basically to Budapest, this is a great thing. You throw their bodies in there and they are burnt to a microscopic level. I mean, it burns away the plague, it burns away their bodies, everything's completely gone. This is going to be great. Of course, there's, the other side to it is we don't know exactly what's going on, but obviously there's some level of evil and sinistercism to it, which I'm assuming we'll get to find out. Plus, we'll also have our conflict between the crazy Inquisitor and Lord Baltimore going through this. Really enjoy this. Enjoy the art, the colors, everything about the Baltimore books are pretty cool. In that kind of, World War I-ish, cult horror thing going on. Good fun. That is it for my no cape books, and you can probably hear lots of noise going on in the background because my family's being noisy. I'm gonna wait for them to quit being noisy. There, they're done. They went away. Okay, next we're gonna talk superhero books. Forever Evil issue 1. The event for DC Comics. Their first official event since the relaunch of the New 52 2 years ago. Interesting, beginning. I don't know what this would feel like. I've read through it twice now. I don't know what this would feel like if you just jumped on this and you hadn't read the whole Trinity War thing to find out where we're at now. We're kind of hinted at some things that are going to be going on. Nightwing gets exposed in this. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, how the whole Nightwing thing plays out. That'll be curious. It'll also be... I know it's fine for a first issue. It gives you enough to wet your whistle. Doesn't give us a whole lot of information to work with. You don't know who are the players and who are the non-players in this. I talked with Eric from Longbox Review. We questioned whether or not the Rogues from Flash's Rogues Gallery, if they will have the exact... I mean, they'll be basically acting the same way that we've just seen them in very recently, within the last, 3 or 4 years, where everybody else is going evil, and they don't go evil with them because that's not their gig, or whatever. So if that's what we're going to cross, I mean, that's kind of, the same old as far as that goes. That could be unfortunate. I know some of the Villain Month books that are out this month, some of them kind of tie in to some degree into Forever Evil in some sense or another. Take them for whatever you were. I won't be reviewing those. I did get a few, but I won't be reviewing any of those. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Some people had some issues with some of the easy tropes that are in here. I don't have a problem with Ultraman snorting kryptonite. I thought it was amusing. Mr. CDC AMP brings up a really good point. At the very beginning of this, we see Lex Luthor with a Ted Cord, who is Blue Beetle number 2 or 3. I can't remember. There were a couple charlatan Blue Beetles from the Charlatan Company before we have the Blue Beetles in the DC universe. So he's either he's the Blue Beetle before Jaime Reyes, the current what we've been seeing as the Blue Beetle. This could be the birth of that. He may come out of this somewhere, and that would be really awesome if that happens. I'll be excited to see exactly what they do with that if that's the case. However, since he was killed, people have been squawking about getting him back. So that could be cool if we're getting an introduction to that in here. We get the whole Lex Luthor questioning where the hell Superman's at, and is Lex going to end up being a hero in this thing, even though, of course, they have him on the front cover, stomping along with a lot of the other villains of the DC universe. We'll see where it goes. I'm very interested. I'm not super excited, but still cool to kind of see where it goes. It felt like it kind of slowed down. I mean, you get this big old craziness going on with the Justice League. Now the Justice League is quote unquote dead, and they're taking over everything, kind of a deal. So it slowed down. I'm assuming it's going to amp back up again. There'll be 7 issues, I believe, of Forever Evil. So there is that. Last superhero comic is Suicide Risk issue 5. On the cover there, we got our 2 people who are tasked, or they're making it their business to give people superpowers. If you pay them, they give you superpowers. Really interesting issue where we find out about a character whose name I'm drawing a blank on right now. What the heck is her name? Boy, am I prepared for this or not? Not, obviously. I can't remember what her name is. I'm not finding it. but you know, she started out as this pretty decent, wholesome person, lives a really miserable, crappy life, ends up buying into these powers, and then and her powers are wish fulfillment powers. She can't change anything. She can't go, you know, I wish that I you know, was 2 feet taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I could play basketball. You know, whatever. She can't do that, but she can wish for things. You know, I want a nice chair. I want, you know, Chippendale dancers. I want, you know, whatever. And she does most of that stuff. So, well, she ends up using it for bad, not good things. I mean, she basically controls a bunch of academic. Really interesting, really depressing, really, by the time you're done with it, you're just like, oh man, this is a crappy existence, and look where it brought her to, you know, not a God-fearing person, but a blah kind of person. And fabulous art is by Jolie Jones, who a lot of you guys out there who read No Cape stuff know from Helheim. So she's on this issue, which is cool. I think she's just on just this issue, though. I don't think she's got to be a regular artist or anything. I think this is just she's doing this issue, which is kind of a cool story. It takes us away from our main story. This is like a, you know, I don't know, it's a filler issue, but it didn't feel like a filler issue because it's filling us in on the world, which is okay because this is a whole new world to us. So that's cool, but takes us off of the main storyline. But really interesting. And we'll see how this person plays into the main storyline. I'm betting they will, because Mike Carey seems to be kind of guy that is going to craft all this stuff together at some point. Still really enjoying it. This is a very good issue, but at the same time, by the time it was over, it made me feel, just kind of, boy, that sucks and those people suck kind of thing. But great, but good. Good because that was good. That was what I think what the story was supposed to do for us. And finally, my no poll, which will now be on the poll list. I believe next issue that comes out is actually on my poll list. It is The Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue number 3. Not a depthy book, not a brilliant book, but just fun. I had a good laugh through it. Ethan says he doesn't think it's as funny as I think it. Now, do I think it's totally gut-rolling all the way through it? No, but it's funny enough. You know, our main character, Boomerang here, he's got a parole officer now, and his parole officer is is the original Beetle villain, who now calls himself Mark 7 and is following him around and causes him all kinds of crap and whatnot. We get to hear this crazy story about Silvermane's head. I'm not really familiar with the whole Silvermane thing, but I'm assuming that that's probably a long history of some sort with the whole Silvermane head in the Marvel Universe. Somebody can correct me one way or the other on that. But still a funny issue. The rest of the Sinister Six vote him out of the group because, of course, he's got a superhero for parole officer, you know, so they don't want him around. There's some funny parts of that. He actually goes to a super villain anonymous kind of a thing where you're trying to give up being a super villain. There are a bunch of other has-been supervillains there, which are pretty ridiculous, pretty funny. There's some fabulous, absolutely fabulous, and tribute things to Fight Club in this that were just, I thought were absolutely hilarious. If you like Fight Club and that sort of stuff, it's just funnier than hell. But really funny. I enjoyed it. Last issue I thought was a little bit funnier than this one. This one was still funny. It's fun to have a fun book, and this is just kind of a ridiculous fun book. And so, yeah, excited by that. Look forward to more of it. I'll keep reading it as long as it's going to stay the $2.99 and be just kind of a goofy, kind of a fun, you know, story. And that is it. That's my books for the week. Hope you enjoyed this and my kind of scatterbrained thoughts on the books. And I'll see you through the week. Bye.